Welcome to Grow Guyana, a weekly journey into Guyana's agriculture sector, bringing you the stories and perspectives from the people that are shaping food security, climate-smart agriculture, and supporting livelihoods. I'm Ramona Luti, and this week we're taking you inside the resurgence of the coconut industry in Guyana, exploring how this once traditional crop is making a powerful comeback, driven by cutting-edge technology and bold new ideas. We're also visiting one of Guyana's agro-tourism ventures and taking a look at the University of Guyana's agriculture faculty, which is molding future agricultural leaders. In Guyana's evolving agricultural landscape, one crop is steadily reclaiming its position as a key economic driver: coconut. But this isn't a return to the past. A new generation of farmers is redefining what's possible, blending tradition with innovation to transform coconut production into a modern, high-potential industry. Farm owner Harish Tiwari explains why this venture represents a major breakthrough and why the future of coconut production in Guyana looks more promising than ever.
This project was conceptualized because I have a very great passion for agriculture. While it's a project that, of course, tremendous amount of capital investment, I think the most important thing for me is that I love the project, and that is what has been driving me for these past 8 years in building and seeing it where it is here today. Now, as you know, Guyana main agriculture industry are the sugar and rice. Prior to getting involved with Laluni Farm, I have another company called Fertiliser Technology Incorporated. This is a research and development company. And we have been doing tremendous amount of soil-specific nutrient formulations for different crops. So it was on the backbone of FARTEC, the research and development, that we decided to try to see coconut, because we know that coconut is going to be one of the biggest industry in agriculture industry in Guyana.
What's happening next goes beyond cultivation. It's experimentation in real time. New techniques, new approaches, and a willingness to challenge what's always been done. Journalist Josiah Williams is on the ground, showing us why this could be the breakthrough needed to revive Guyana's coconut industry if others follow suit.
We're here with plant nutrient formulator at Laluni Farms Inc., Mr. Valmiki Banke. Mr. Banke, tell us, why is this farm a standout from the other coconut plantations across Guyana?
Because I think this is the only plantation that we have coconuts growing on white sand. And if you look at white sand doesn't have any nutrient, any plant nutrient, except the 4 to 6 inch of the topsoil that barely can sustain plants for about a year. So what we have did with this white sand is that we have had to go back to the books and make a product, a new product that is. We don't want to call it fertilizer. We want to call it a new plant nutrient formulation that can work in the white sand. So the white sand is when you put the normal fertilizer on the white sand and the rain falls, it leaches and the plant doesn't get any of the nutrient. Most of it leach and go away with the rains. So what you have here is that it can't sustain plants. White sand can't sustain plants. So we come in, and it took us about 2.5 to 3 years to come up with these formulations with significant amount of money spent in experiment. I would say the experiment to come up with this nutrient alone is merely more than $1 million US. Okay. To find what product, how we can use it, the methodology to implement it, for it to stay in the soil and for the plant to get it as food. So we did some soils analysis, and we find there's nothing here for plants to grow on and sustain themselves. And we came up with a formulation that works, that when we did our first test, we were so lucky that within 1 year, we had a 400% increase in productivity compared with a conventional fertilizer.
Thank you, Josiah. That was quite an experiment. But of course, production alone isn't enough, is it? The real question is, can Guyana compete globally? The answer may lie in this next story, where we talk about value addition. From raw coconut to processed products, farmers are exploring ways to increase profitability and reduce waste. Josiah Williams takes a closer look at whether this strategy is enough to position Guyana on the international market.
Beyond farming, value-added production is key to unlocking the full potential of coconuts. Here, plans are already underway to establish a coconut water factory.
The farm will start selling coconut water as of ending of next year, mid to ending of next year. We're putting up our coconut water bottling plant here, and at full capacity, it will have should be producing about 2 million liters of water per annum. One of the constraints we are faced with here, 2 million liters of water is small. Because when you're looking at places like Thailand and so, they're talking about tens of millions of liters of water. So it's hard to make money at this level. So at this level, we are still at subsistence farm, even though we have 500 acres, because comparing with the larger farms that we have to compete with at the export market, we can't able to compete at 500 acres. So we are looking at expanding to 5,000 acres, but we don't have 5,000 acres here. We are having constraints in lands and survey giving the land to expand. So that's one of the problem here.
So we're looking at coconut milk. We're looking at utilizing the jelly of the coconut because, that's a very big industry. And the jelly of the coconut that has not really been featured much in our localized industry. So coconut jelly is something that we are looking carefully for. We're looking also at the coconut milk that comes from the dried coconut. In addition to that, the sheer volume of the waste product that comes out of your extraction in the water, this tremendous amount of biomass, and we have some very interesting, of course, close to my chest, idea about utilizing that waste, that biomass, right? So we're going to be converting that biomass into something very, very valuable.
In order to further compete on the international market, these farmers are also looking to capitalize on their research by producing this plant nutrient supplement.
The name of the company is Fertiliser Technology, Inc. That company is currently establishing a plant at Dora, and that will be like I think a $6 million US investment. The plant is already in the country. The building is already in the country. We're currently doing the foundation. Our plant nutrient will be coming from that location in another year from now. But what we have done, we are doing things by hand now. We are doing our formulations by hand. We have high organic matter content in our formulations, and we have some other items in the formulation that are able to bring up the holding capacity of the soil to hold the nutrient. And once we are able to hold the nutrient, we get the plant to grow very, very healthy. So we will be taking the capacity of this white sand soil to almost the capacity of the clay soil on the coast for coconuts. And in the clay soils, you can probably get about 12 bunches per year, about 20, 30 nuts per bunch. We are aiming for the same thing here. People in the Laluni area are not getting that kind of production in coconuts, and we will be getting that kind of production. Our experiment have shown that we have able to raise the productivity of the soil about 400% increase in productivity over the current fertilizer regimen that is used in the country. And this same fertilizer, we believe that will have a stake in the savannas because it's almost the same kind of soil, sandy soil. And we will introduce this to the savanna locations where they can do fruit crops, coconuts.
But innovation doesn't start on the farm. It begins in the classroom. The future of Ghana's agriculture sector will depend heavily on education, research, and the next generation of professionals ready to lead it forward. At the University of Guyana's Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry, that future is already taking shape.
We're here at the Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry, where they are showcasing how they're equipping students with the skills to tackle real-world challenges, from food production to value addition and climate change.
My research work is more tailored to aquaculture and aquaponics. As you would know, that given the current situations as it relates to climate change issues. There is a thrust for us to derive new mechanisms in terms of growing our vegetables. And given that there is a lot of persons on the coast, and given that we are restricted in terms of space, this system here is one which can be utilized for growing crops. Um, we know that persons want to remain healthy, and being involved in this type of practice, you have both the fish and the plants, so that you can just pick it, harvest, sorry, and you have healthy, fresh vegetables. We are currently in a situation where you have an oil boom, and as you would know, with an oil boom, that means that you have more persons coming in and within our country, and therefore there would be a greater demand for food items, particularly vegetables and other commodities. And therefore, there is a need for personnel to be trained so that they are able to either become involved or help in the process to ensure that we remain food secure.
With specialized programs in agriculture, forestry, and environmental science, students are gaining real-world experience through research, fieldwork, and industry partnerships. Here's why the Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry is becoming a top choice for those looking to make an impact.
Faculty representatives also outlined the various programs available and emphasized why it is important that young people get involved in agriculture.
Among them, in the Department of Agriculture, you have the Bachelor of Science Agriculture, where you have a number of options. Could be general, agronomy, animals, fisheries, and in the Master of Science in Agro-technology and Business. In terms of the Department of Forestry, you have Bachelor of Science, and you also have the Associate of Science degree. We also have the Bachelor of Science in Entrepreneurship and Management, which is one that we try to encourage students to start their own business. I want to impress on the youth of Guyana. Agriculture is very, very important. Our farming population in Guyana is very aged, and the use of new technology that is available, use of drones and all of these, it is difficult for those aged farmers who most do not have secondary education and are not amicable to using this new technology. So I'm saying that the youths must be involved so they can utilize all available technology to improve on our production in terms of the quantity and the quality.
And at the university's farm, learning goes beyond the classroom. Students are applying their knowledge in real time, working with crops and livestock, solving real challenges, and building the skills needed to shape the industry.
Here at the Faculty of Agriculture's Research Station, a number of innovative farming techniques are underway, and students are actively involved and receiving hands-on training.
The resource center is made up about half an acre of farmland, in which we have open fields and also some high tunnels and shade houses. So with the practical courses, students have the chance to at least demonstrate some form of cultivation in the open field and also underneath our shaded conditions. Further, we also have about 5 fish ponds in which we rear tilapia and tambaki fishes. We're also big on soil amendments. There is a substance called biochar in which we produce right here from our local rain trees, which we have from the campus, and also utilizing some of the debris across campus also. We're also involved in producing compost, vermicompost, and regular compost. We also do potting soil, in which all are available for sale. We're also involved in some other ventures in terms of, well, fish rearing, as I mentioned before, and also we produce herb plants in terms of fine thyme, broadleaf thyme, rosemary, and these other sort of crops. So in the future, our endeavors would likely be we're setting up a poultry pen so that we can expand on the poultry courses.
And that's a look at how the University of Guyana's Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry is connecting innovation with opportunity, giving students both knowledge and hands-on experiences as they contribute to Guyana's agricultural expansion. Over to you, Ramona.
Agriculture in Guyana is also becoming an agro-tourism experience by opening the doors of farms to the public, blending education, culture, and recreation into something entirely new. One venture leading that movement is Singh's Farm Tours. Josiah Williams shows us what makes this experience unique.
We're here at Singh's Farm Stores, a family-owned farm that's been passed on for generations and has recently decided to tap into Guyana's growing agro-tourism sector by providing customized stores and Airbnb experiences.
Singh's Farm has been in the family for more than 100 years. My great-grandfather, which I have a certificate, presently he came as an indentured immigrant at the age of 14. And that was 1895. He became an indentured immigrant in Guyana by the British. I don't know much about him besides that document, but my grandfather purchased this land. Now, we normally bring family and friends into the farm and give them a tour. And they enjoyed it so much, and most of them are from overseas. And they suggested to us, especially my wife's sister, that we should do agro-farm tours because they went to farms overseas, do farm tours, and it's not like what we have. We have much more than what they are getting overseas. Plus, they are getting meals. It is a big plus. And my wife is a very good cook. And from then on, we start to make other additions to the farm. We had made we have a brand new shed, a nice hangout place at the back inside the farm where we normally cook. We have hammocks. We have facility, a washroom also for guests. And last year we launched the next addition to the Singh's Farm Tours is that we have 2 self-contained apartments with all fully furnished with all modern amenities.
This family-led venture also has several customizable packages tailored to suit your needs, from a backyard bush cook to fruit picking and learning to care for plants.
At Singh's Farm Tours, visitors are invited to step into farm life where culture, food, and tradition come together in a truly immersive way. Here, the message is simple. If you've eaten today, thank a farmer.
We have the whole day package where we offer a buffet breakfast with different curries, bake, roti, and we have like pumpkin, we have saltfish, we have eggs, and also we do vegetarian options. Then we come to the farm and you have a tractor ride and they're given a guided educational tour where they can ask any question from as a farmer. My husband is a farmer for over 50 years. So he has a wealth of knowledge that he loves to share rather. So then we come down and I also have this area where we call Lazy Hall, and where they can relax in the hammock after the long walk. They'll be given water and juices and so, where they can relax in hammock, or we have swing. And there I do the bush cook, where it's cook up or soup with chicken and salad and so. And we also catered for people, individual, customized individual lunch. And we also do the half-day tour, where we won't have the breakfast, but you'll be having the juices, and you come for the tractor ride and the picking and eating of fruits. But what we take home, we also give some, but if you want like more to buy, we also sell you at a wholesale price. And you have the guided educational tour, the cookout, and also there's an area where we can play games. You can get games for little children, it has for bigger one, then it has for the adult. They can have a fun day with the family where they can enjoy games of cricket and so forth.
As interest continues to grow, There are hopes for expansion, not just for Singh's farm, but for the agro-tourism sector as a whole. We hear more about the vision and the possibilities ahead.
Guyana has great potential for agro-tourism and for agriculture as a whole because we have very, very fertile land. As I said earlier, this farm has been in the family for more than 100 years and still producing. So that tells the story of the fertility of the soil. Guyana really has much potential for this tourism sector in farming, but it needs to be marketed in a more aggressive way. Aggressive way, I mean that we should be out there, we should be where the tourists are, we should be more visible. Well, our product should be more visible to the wider public, especially the Guyanese public also. We need the young generation to be au fait of farming in Guyana, at least academically speaking, because if they have the knowledge of farming, they can get into farming.
Initiatives like this show that agriculture can go beyond production, creating experiences, generating income, and strengthening the connection between people and the land. Back to you, Ramona.
For years, poultry farming has been a backbone of food production in Guyana. Now the industry is evolving, embracing innovation, improving efficiency, and positioning itself to meet the demands of a growing population. Next week, we take you inside that transformation. And that's it for this edition of Grow Guyana, a weekly journey into the stories, people, and ideas driving the country's agricultural future. I'm Ramona Luti. Join us next week as we continue to track the growth, challenges, and opportunities shaping Guyana's agriculture sector.